We begin this story looking at sunrise over St Joseph's Farm. Here are some facts about the farm. The Palatines established the wheat and sheep farm back in 1928. Its purpose was to support the two missions at Beagle Bay and Lombardina in the Kimberley. The property is 5,150 hectares and about 3,780 of these are under crop, growing wheat and sheep. The remaining 1,370 hectares is original vegetation, and this is the story of its inhabitants. We begin with the common termite mound. The average height of the mound is about 1.6 metres at Tartan. The termites construct the mounds in different soil types. Termites, or white ants as they are frequently called, are widespread throughout the property. The common name white ant, which is applied to these insects, is misleading, for they are seldom white and belong to a distinct order of insects called Isoptera. The termites are more closely related to cockroaches. There are more than 150 species described in Australia. The basic feature of termite life is social organisation of different kinds. They also happen to be one of the most developed forms of insect life. The best known nests are conspicuous and often typical termitaria, which the termites build above the ground. The birth of a new colony begins with the flight of winged males and females from the established colony. The termitarium is a unit of chambers and passages enclosed by continuous outer coverings of earth or clay and carton-like material. Daily and seasonal fluctuations in environmental temperature, which here are between 2 and 47 degrees over the year, are stabilised by the termitarium. The resulting stable temperature within the mound, together with a constant high humidity, produces ideal conditions for the development of the eggs and the immature insects. The food of termites is normally carbohydrate material such as wood or grass, and foraging parties attack logs, stumps, standing trees, grass and shrubs to get it. Under natural conditions like here, termites play an important role in returning plant material to the soil and increasing the breakdown of vegetable matter. The vast majority of individual termites are workers, the first caste, whose sole task throughout their life is obtaining food, building nests and caring for the young. A small number of termites in each colony have enlarged jaws. This visible adaptation is not for gnawing, but to be used as a weapon. These are known as soldiers and are charged to defend the colony. The third members are the royal pair. They are responsible during their lifetime producing the big numbers of termites. The mist is rolling in on the farm. It's not a common sight and only occurs when the conditions are just right. It's a beautiful sight in the bush, but today a lot of people have no time to see the beauty that's around them. It's sad to say that some Christians too have lost that connection with nature. Filming or photographs of spiderwebs must be taken in the early morning when the web still holds the dewdrops to make it more visible. Here you see that different spiders build different webs. Not all spiders create beautiful orb-shaped webs. A few species have completely abandoned building snares here in Hidden Valley. In most cases, orb-weaving spiders work to the basic pattern. A not-so-dangerous spider is the Nicodamus mani. This common spider is often mistaken as harmful because of their bright red legs and celaphothorax and purplish black abdomen. In the bush, you do not see spiders like this very often. Most spiders have a small amount of venom, which they use to stun or kill their prey. Altogether, there are about 2,000 scientifically named species of spider in Australia, but only a small number are considered dangerous. The family name of this spider is Lycosidae, from the Greek word lykos, meaning wolf. It earned the name because they are the wolves of the insect world. The spider catches its victim by sheer speed or by leaping on its prey. It mostly hunts at night. The large eyes of the wolf spider can often be seen on the lonely dirt roads by the lights of a car at night. Wolf spiders are ground dwellers. The desert wolf spider builds a shelter on the ground, closed by a door. In this burrow, the spider lives by day and comes out to hunt at night. The common and widespread wolf spiders are also the biggest, reaching 3 centimetres in length, and are aggressive. The wolf spiders are found not only in the desert, but also in a wide range of habitats in Australia. The sluggish trapdoor spider is known as a mouse spider. There are at least 6 species of Missolina. The name of the mouse spider is a misconception. It may have derived from a belief that the burrows of this group were deep and winding, a bit like those of mice. It's a fact that the burrows are oval and go straight down to only a moderate depth. Their distinctive feature is a lid built in 2 parts, separately hinged. Though slow moving, they are aggressive if harassed. It's common here in the bush and has been seen at different places on the farm. It is sometimes called the red-headed mouse spider. The male mouse spider may sometimes be found during the day, but normally they only move around at night. Both males and females take some years to reach breeding maturity. At maturity, the males leave their burrows in search of females. All trapdoor spiders use their burrows as a place of ambush. There are a number of different trapdoor spiders in the bush here at Tarden. Only a few uncleared areas of original vegetation can be seen on the farm. In this area, the York gum is the dominant tree. These trees form open woodland with low shrubbery undergrowth on soils directly above the granite rocky country. In this bush you can find a number of medicinal plants like the dysentery bush, quandong tree, the cancer plant and poverty bushes, also the native flax or kangaroo food and the one flowering lobelia. Here we are looking at one of the small birds in the bush, only between 9 and 13 centimetres in length. The pardalates are a group of birds which are entirely Australian. They belong to a family of flower peckers. Feeding is carried out mainly in the canopy of the trees. Because of this, not many people have seen these birds. Here you see the striated pardalote feeding among the outer foliage of the tree. Insects are the main interest of the pardalotes and provide most of their food. The striated pardalote is in front of its nesting hollow. The nesting habits vary, sometimes in tunnels in soil banks. In Western Australia, nests are sometimes placed in natural hollows in trees. The striated pardalote is also known as the red-tipped diamond bird because of a red spot on the wing. The name striated comes from the head and nape being marked with white stripes. It's important to leave old trees in the bush. Without them, many animals would have no place to nest or roost. Striated pardalotes are the most widespread of the pardalotes. The birds breed here in June. A nest is built in the hollow of the tree out of grass and nesting materials. It takes 14 to 16 days to incubate the eggs. The striated pardalote has a loud and penetrating call. The yellow robin is an attractive example of this group of birds that are common in the bush. Some of them we came across in a previous film, like the red-capped robin, and have a very loud song. The yellow robin has a soulful, soft sound. The quite thick-set robin is the second yellow-bellied robin to come to be isolated in Western Australia from the robins on the east coast. It is losing its yellow underside. The robin escapes detection in the bush by remaining still. Here the robin usually builds its nest in a fork of either standing or fallen trees. The female does most of the incubating and brooding, but both birds feed their young. Their diet consists of ground insects, especially ants and spiders, which are plentiful here in the bush. The black-faced wood swallows are common birds here on the farm. It's one of the birds that melt into their background, so much so as to become almost invisible unless they move. The wood swallow's plumage is muted in colour. Wood swallows are gregarious birds. Their social pattern is repeated in the roosting of this black-faced wood swallow. Trying to find reasons for such grouping is not easy. It may be valuable in winter when keeping warm is important. A few people have been privileged to see this sight during the day and wondered at this clustering of the birds. The black-faced wood swallow is the inland counterpart of the dusky wood swallow and occurs over most of the continent. When heavy rain falls in summer in this semi-arid part of Australia, it may trigger the black-faced wood swallow to begin breeding. That may be the reason the Aboriginals from the Murchison call it the storm bird. Normally they breed in late spring and early summer. Insects are the main item of diet, and many are caught in the air, and flying ants are taken when they are high in the air on mating flights. On the ground, the bulldog ants often fall victim. Grasshopper plagues are often attended by small flocks of wood swallows. The bird possesses a similar brush-tipped tongue like the honey-eating birds. The nest is a shallow bowl of twigs, grass items and rootlets. It's placed in a well-hidden stump in this case. The nestlings stay in the nest for 18 days. We look at 3 young wood swallows just out of the nest and plucking up the courage to fly. The immature bird is streaked brown and has grey on the head and back. The bill is whitish blue with a black tip. Like other wood swallows with white striped tails, they court by mutual wing waving and tail rotating. Wood swallows are unusual birds in several respects. They are the only small passerines that soar persistently, and they are the only passerines with powder down feathers. Most wood swallows are migratory, or at least nomadic, but here at Tarden they remain all year round. Wood swallows are predominantly Australian, but black-faced wood swallows are also in Timor. At the height of the flowering season, there are 10 different honey-eaters coming in to feed on the flowers. 3 of them stay on during the year. The red wattlebird is one of the honey-eaters that is here for only a short time in May. The honey-eater take not only nectar from the wide range of flowers, but can be seen searching intently under the leaves and hunting for spiders to feed their young. Being about 320 millimetres in length, it's the biggest of the honey-eaters that come here. All honey-eaters have a long, slender bill and a long, brush-tipped tongue. This elegant honey-eater, with striking pink and black bill, is feasting on the nectar-laden flowers in the tree. These spiny-cheeked honey-eaters are common in Tarden. The honey-eater is around most of the year. The temperament of this bird is fearless and quarrelsome. The spiny-cheeked honey-eater is related to the largest of the honey-eaters, the wattlebirds we have seen before. Besides nectar, the honey-eater is fond of berries and has been described as a useful insect destroyer. The yellow-white feathers ringed with black give the bird its name. The Latin name for the singing honey-eater means greenish honey-eater. The common name soon was used. While it hardly lives up to its popular name of singing, the bird has a varied series of calls. Some naturalists from Western Australia defend the name, saying that the early morning song is quite charming. At times the bird does sing tunefully. It's a permanent resident on the farm and is very common. The singing honey-eater is a typical sombre-coloured honey-eater, greyish-brown above and streaked greyish below. A black line passes from the beak past the eye, and a small yellow ear patch adds a touch of colour. The species is particularly aggressive towards other birds, though it is friendly with people. This bird sometimes fosters the young of the pallid cuckoo. Other names given to this bird are the black-faced honeyeater. On a long hot day, the honeyeater is cleaning itself of dust and cooling off at the dam. The singing honeyeater is probably the most widespread species in Australia. In this natural bush, there is always rich pickings for the honeyeater the whole year round, not only in the wildflower season, so it doesn't migrate. Most honeyeaters seek soft materials to line their cup-like nests. Some birds are content with plant down, flowers or feathers, or stealing material from other birds' nests. With the introduction of sheep here on the farm, the birds use the wool of the sheep to line their nests. Australia has more than 60 species of honeyeaters. The farm is part of the South West Land Division and is the oldest part of the Australian landmass. It is the cradle of Australian plant life. Flora has no known beginning, but it is believed to have been of Antarctic origin. The panorama view of this bush shows mostly flowering Waitsia acuminata growing under the tall vegetation. We're going now to look at the Proteaceae family of plants that belong to the natural vegetation. The magnificent genus Banksia are perhaps the most attractive of this family. Only one species of the Banksia grows here. It flowers in November and December, and it grows only in a few places on the property. This small shrub growing in the sandy soils of the property is common. The Petrophylla conifera rarely exceeds a metre in height. The flowers of Petrophyll are arranged in cones, and the family name Proteaceae derived from Proteus, the mythical son of Poseidon, who could change his form at will. One of the most outstanding members of the family is undoubtedly the genus named Grevillea. This flame grevillea is also common. It grows mostly among bushes and not trees. Only the yellow colours grow here. Most of grevilleas in Australia are in Western Australia. The entire leafed grevillea are easily recognisable by the shell-like fruit which falls in the same season in which it flowers. It is a pine-like shrub and grows up to 6 metres tall. Grevillea extoris has no common name. This grevillea is not very common in the bush. A lot of people that come here have never seen this particular grevillea. A flowering strange grevillea or bottle grevillea. The probed grevillea has a nice sweet perfume coming from the flowers. The leaves of hakeas are often characteristically needle-like and openly spaced, so that sunlight penetrates the foliage. The flowers are mostly not as large and showy as those of the Banksias, but have a wide range of colours. The fruits of most hakeas are hard and knobby and remain unopened on the branches for years. This grass-leaf hakea is common in the bush. It grows high in some places. Hakeas form another very large and varied group of proteaceous plants. They vary in size on the property from low shrubs to small trees. Here they are found in the porous soils. Like most proteaceous plants, the flowers produce abundant nectar and are largely sought after by both birds and insects. It's not only fire which causes fruit to open. On the Hakea recurvia, common here, the drought over the years causes the seed pods to open. We are looking at the canopy of bush and the biggest area of virgin land on the property here at Hidden Valley. Here there's no sign of salt-affected areas. It's proof that when clearing unwisely, driven by making money, you can misuse the land. It wasn't wisdom that left this land as it is today. At the time, there was no money for clearing it. It also shows that when it comes to understand the land, we have a long way to go. When it comes to learning from the mistakes of the past, we are slow learners sometimes. The little long-tailed dunnart or marsupial mouse is common here. I have seen the marsupial mouse here since the 1970s. It's surprising that this mouse has survived because of the feral cats and foxes that roam the country today. Adult size is reached at about 150 days. The fat-tailed dunnart also lives in this bush. This dunnart is completely nocturnal. It emerges after dark to hunt for invertebrates on the ground. Because enough water is obtained from its food, the dunnart does not need to drink. It's just as well because there is no surface water here, only when it rains, and that's only common in winter and with the occasional summer thunderstorm. There are only a few native mammals here. The bats are the only mammals capable of sustained flight. Bats appear to have evolved from primitive mammals. Widespread throughout Australia, this Gould's wattled bat is one of 3 ordinary bats that are common at night. They emerge at evening from their roost. The roosts for these bats are tree hollows and old wells. It's a known prey of owls and feral cats. Also, the pied butcherbird, common on the farm, may prey on these bats as they emerge from the roost. Its food consists mainly of beetles, caterpillars, crickets, and moths. Apart from introduced mammals, this is the native mammal that lives here. The spinifex hopping mouse avoids the heat of the day by sheltering in a deep, humid burrow system. The mouse emerges at dusk and is active throughout much of the night. Its diet is quite variable. Like many other desert rodents, the spinifex hopping mouse can survive without drinking. It is common here. We began with sunrise, and now we end this series with sunset over Tarden. I hope the films of St Joseph's Farm, Tarden, have given you some insight of the land and the wildlife that is still here after 79 years of human interference. For many people that come here over the years, it is a surprise for them to see what was and still is around us. We can only save this wildlife for the next generation to enjoy if we take off our blinkers and learn to live together with nature.